And I still know every word, too. Every word.
I got you.
The good guys dress in black. Remember that, just in case we have a face-to-face and make contact. The title held by me, MIB, means what you think you saw, you did not see. For all the elder millennials in the crowd, I learned this morning and decided that I needed to bring you all down a notch with me. That, of course, this movie, Men in Black, starring Will Smith.
You were doing the slap thing earlier. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
This movie.
Look out, Chris Rock.
This movie turns 25 years old this year. Yeah. 25 years. I told Lonzo that when he got in this morning, and then my back started hurting.
No, you told me like 2 minutes ago. That's why I shocked you, because you didn't know that I was going to find it that quick. Because, I got them skills, yo.
If you're ever near us, don't jeer us. MIB picking up all the slag. What's that stand for?
Do you know what song the music was sampled from, though?
Yes, I do, but you'll have to give me a minute. It's
I don't remember the band name, and I should remember, but it's Forget Me Nots.
Yeah.
It's an older song, so
it's a great little bass line too.
Yeah, for sure. I think they pepped it up a little bit for this, but
25 years old. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you were a child when this song came out, remember to go ahead and schedule your prostate exam.
Or if you were 29 when it came out, like I was, then you probably have already had one.
Go ahead and make sure your AARP subscription is up to date.
By the way, once you start getting those cards in the mail, they keep sending them to you. Whether you accept it or not, you're going to get like every other day something from AARP.
25 years ago. Now, the actual birthday isn't until July. And I genuinely thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and put up a tweet, but I'm going to schedule it for July so I don't forget between here and there. And then I just could not stop. Captain America Chris Evans down the hall came in this morning, and I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. We were talking about we started talking about Vox Machina, and then we started talking about like different pop culture things throughout the years that were taken from source material, right? Comic books and music and shows and songs, and then turned into other projects. And I was telling him that I actually had read the Men in Black graphic novels that inspired the movie. And then we started talking about like hip hop music. And obviously Will Smith's theme song to Men in Black jumped into my head. And I had to listen to it. It got all ear buggy on me. When I remembered that, I remembered every word to that song. And then I was like, how long ago is this, man? Like, I haven't heard this song in a number of years. How long ago did Men in Black come out? And it turns out it came out 25 years ago.
So on the Upstate Pulse, which you can hear every Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. on our sister station, 106.3 WRD. You should tune in tomorrow. We used to have a segment called Things That Make You Feel Old.
There's mine.
But now I'm the only old guy on there. So I mean, the other guys, although some of them are approaching 30, and that's when it starts hitting you a little bit more when you start approaching 30. So I might have to bring that back just for them so I can laugh.
I tick off 38 very soon here. And I would come sit on your show, Lonzo, but it's past my bedtime. I got to watch my Matlock at 6 p.m. and then it's off to bed at 7.
Well, don't forget the cafeteria that you got to hit around 5:15.
Yeah, well, for senior citizen dinner.
Right, got to get that
dinner
special.
At 5:15,
yep.
Exactly.
They take care of you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. If you haven't figured that out yet, we are glad to have you along for the ride. Phone lines are open for you at 844-FAN phone. That's 844-326-3663. You can text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, or hit up Lonzo at Lonzo on Word, or hit us all up, the whole station, at The Fan Upstate on Twitter, at The Fan Upstate on Twitter. Let's dive right in, shall we, ladies and gentlemen, because with Lonzo going to dig up the theme music to Men in Black, yeah. Partially, I assume as a bit of a dig at my age.
No, I was
you,
there was a lot of things that's probably like the last on the list. The other is to show you how I pay attention. The other thing is because that song
slaps.
It
that
does.
Song slaps.
It does for sure.
Let's just call it what it
you
is.
Know what?
That song's a banger.
The original did too. Josh says it was Patrice. I can't say Patrice. Patrice Russian. I don't know. Forget me nots. Now the question is, did he look it up? Because I hear tell he might be a DJ, so maybe he already plays that.
You know, like DJ Jazzy Jeff. How about Skrilla popping in with the deep vinyl knowledge? I love it. There is, Lonzo, a report going round from Mike Florio. Now, we've discussed Florio at length on this show, and there's this interesting spot that we find us in journalist history right now, in the history of journalism, because you've gotten to a point in history now where a lot of journalists are also podcasters, right? It used to be a journalist was a journalist, and that's just what they did. But now a lot of journalists have their own podcast that they are trying to sell advertising on. A lot of journalists have their own podcast that they're trying to make secondary income with. And as anybody in this line of work will tell you, the only way to get people to pay you money for your podcast is if other people are listening to it. So you gotta pump up them numbers.
Yeah, I've heard that's important.
Mucho importante. So I take reports like this one from Mike Florio, not with a grain of salt, but with the full shaker. Because Florio is a guy that I think over the years has done a pretty good job at being an NFL source. But also, Pro Football Talk has its own podcast that they want you to listen to. They need you to listen to. And they need to grab your attention to get you to listen to it. And unfortunately, there are some journalists who are willing to, what is that thing that you do when you say that something is true when it's not?
I believe that's called a lie, Rob.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that was correct. We'll make up false information in the quest to get more ear holes tuned into the show. Because that's what's relevant, right? At the end of the day, credibility in journalism is not important. Earballs on your product is. Florio's done a good job as a journalist, I think, over the years when he has actually reported news, but now he has gotten into the business of podcasting as well, which means that any report that comes out that doesn't have a source on it, I am skeptical. That being said, Mike Florio is putting out a report that the San Francisco 49ers may make a competitive offer for a new quarterback next year. Now we know the draft is coming up. We know that there's going to be competition to try to get the number 1 overall pick away from the Chicago Bears and draft either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. We know that the Texans will be taking a quarterback at number 2. If either quarterback is available at or the Colts make the trade, one of them will come off the board at number 4. We know there's a couple of teams that could be interested, and we know that as of right now, assuming that either Levis or Richardson are available at 9 and the Panthers don't trade up, they'll take a quarterback there. We're likely going to have 4 quarterbacks coming off the board in the draft. We've also got Derek Carr, a current free agent. Jimmy Garoppolo, a current free agent. Aaron Darkness Rodgers, who could be asking for a trade out of Green Bay. And Lamar Jackson, who the Ravens may deal to try to turn some profit off of a guy that they don't have any interest locking up for 5 years on a quarter bill guaranteed, which is what he wants. So what quarterback does Mike Florio say the San Francisco 49ers may put together a highly competitive offer to try to bring into play for them? That quarterback, Lonzo, is Tom Brady.
No. Although, remember, I said all along that's the only place that he would go because they're ready to win a Super Bowl right now.
Yup. That is correct.
Although, if you could have Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers right now in San Francisco, who are you taking?
That's a great question.
Because that's also a possibility.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I think you got to go Rodgers, right?
Strictly out of youth, because we saw some drop-off in Brady for sure.
We saw some drop-off in Brady. Bruce Arians, by the way.
Plus, you might get a couple years out of Rodgers, especially if he wins the Super Bowl.
Right. You can't guarantee more than 1 out of Brady. You might get 2 to 3 out of Rodgers. Bruce Arians, former head coach turned front office dude for the Buccaneers.
And beat poet.
Said that, quote, Tom Brady wasn't himself last year, end quote. Apparently, the switch over from Arians to Todd Bowles, as I predicted it would preseason, though I did not predict the, level to which it would be a problem. The switch from a QB whisperer to a defensive-minded head coach did not go well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, and Tom Brady suffered because of that. Bruce Arians said Tom Brady wasn't himself, and he thinks that, I'm reading between the lines here, but it sounds like Bruce Arians feels like Brady may have been stepping away more because he saw the writing on the wall in Tampa Bay for the Bucs, not for him. And he just didn't want to run it back with a 9-win football team, right? Now, Brady did file his letter for retirement. That does not mean he must stay retired. He could pull that letter back. The Bucs would then have, if I recall correctly, first right of refusal. They would have to make a trade with the Niners, but I think they would be willing to do so. I don't know. It's interesting. Could we see the return of the GOAT? I don't think so. I really just wanted to see how Lonzo was going to react to this.
See, I'm still ill, and we started out with some Men in Black.
You're feeling good today. You're feeling better today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it. Although, yeah, I'm working on it. So I don't believe it. If I believed it, maybe it would bother me, but I don't believe it.
It's a work, brother.
Exactly.
I don't believe it either, to be honest with you. Like I said, I think Florio's done a good job as a journalist. But this seems like a lot of speculation here. This seems like a lot of maybe. He wrote on his article that despite the fact that Brady's recent retirement was, quote, for good, end quote, he said, quote, sometimes he says things he means and eventually does something different. For example, he said years ago that he'll retire when he sucks. He clearly doesn't suck. While he may not be at his peak abilities, he still has a combination of brain and brawn that allowed him to set a regular season record for pass attempts and completions, end quote. So, could we see the return of the GOAT? Lonzo, I say no, but with like 33% belief in that being correct. Like, it would not surprise me to see Brady. I wouldn't be – if Brady comes back in June and he's like, one more time, let's go Niners. Be like, all right, I get it.
I don't know. If Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt, this is probably not a question.
Probably not.
I mean,
But
because
it is.
because San Francisco
like 6 months away from being able to throw a football, which is going to give him about a month and a half to 2 months before we really get going again.
and they had another quarterback. I forget what was his name.
Garoppolo?
No, the other one. There's another one.
Trey Lance.
That's it.
First round draft pick.
See,
Forgot about that guy.
I think everyone has.
All due respect to Trey Lance.
No. Brock Purdy did that. Brock Purdy made you forget about Trey Lance. Now has San Francisco forgot about Trey Lance?
I don't know. All I know is draft day is going to be real interesting this year. All right, let's take a break. Coming up on today's edition of the Rob Brown Show, speaking of NFL quarterbacks, there's a methodology for learning things. There's a process for learning things. We call it the scientific method, right? Scientific method, hypothesis, test, analyze,
Hold my beer.
demonstrate, repeat. The redneck scientific analysis is hold my beer and do it. The new age method for learning things is to bleep around and find out. That's the new phrase. Bleep around and find out. Well, NFL quarterbacks in a league which is predicated upon success of the quarterback have decided to enter the bleep around portion of the scientific method. And I think there's going to be some finding out done. A story dropped about Russell Broncos Country Let's Ride Wilson yesterday. We've also got further reports on the situation about Lamar Jackson. And both of them, I believe, have either found out or are about to find out. About what, you might ask? And I might say, I'll tell you in the next segment. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo, and you're listening to the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Hey, Ron. All right. Be right back, kids. Got to do the annual first segment. Annual daily.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's daily for sure. I'm also not really feeling that much better.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle
It's all
in a haystack.
mental.
Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes
Less and less sleep because you why does this happen? You don't cough for a little while. As soon as your eyes close, you start coughing. Why is that? Is that a mental thing? I mean, I'll ask the internet because they have all the answers.
Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Here we go. How to stop coughing at night. 20 plus tips and tricks.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations.
What are you doing, man? Hey.
There's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
So Rob missed what just happened.
What just happened?
Fat boy jumped into. I saw someone jump into our StreamYard, and then he pointed and then jumped off. I don't know if it was a mistake or if he did it on purpose, which is funnier, him doing it on purpose or by accident.
Either one.
I was getting ready to put him up if he stayed up in there. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then he just clicked off. Makes you want to do the same to them, doesn't it?
I've considered it before. We're doing an experiment. We're leaving we left the dog out of her crate for the first time while we go to work today to see how she does.
Is the man cave door closed?
All the doors, all
Okay.
the room doors are closed. We put all the shoes away, so there's really nothing for her to chew. And I was like, she's gonna be a devil. She has not moved off the couch. I'm so happy. She's my spirit animal. She's just gonna sleep all day.
No, I was just looking up because I can go for about an hour and not cough at home, but as soon as I close my eyes,
Yeah.
I cough for. So I probably got 4 hours of sleep again last night.
Oof.
So you think I'm doing better? I'm just a lack of sleep, and so I am silly. But it's just weird. As soon as my eyes close, then I can't stop coughing, and ain't nothing working. I just took the Alka-Seltzer again, but I think I've built up a tolerance to it. Gonna have to go straight up with the NyQuil, the stuff that burns your throat when you drink it. That's the only way for me, since I don't do other stuff. So last Saturday I did the thing where I just turned my mic up. That's a problem for me because I have my mic basically at the same level on the board every time.
Yep.
And having it up and I want to get in there. It's like, whoa, I cannot do that. Was watching KJM this morning and Keyshawn had his mic off to the side and no one ever fixed it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Was the audio bad?
at times, yeah.
The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob and Zoe with you. A little audio Red Bull to get your day started, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about NFL quarterbacks a lot lately, and it's an unfortunate consequence of the fact that the league is quarterback driven now. You can be upset about it. I am, right? I do not like that success in the National Football League is predicated primarily upon one person when there are 22 guys on the field at any given point in time. I don't like it, but it is what it is. One of the other consequences of that reality is the fact that quarterbacks have an insane amount of power in the National Football League nowadays. They have the opportunity to make demands that must be acquiesced to, regardless of how we feel about those. Case in point, there are two demands that have been made by top-tier quarterbacks over the past couple of years. One that has been settled, one that is not. We'll start with this one. Report dropped just a day ago or so that Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, Broncos country, we tried. Before he left the Seattle Seahawks, Lonzo, demanded that Pete Carroll, the head coach of the then Seattle Seahawks, and GM John Schneider be fired if he was going to
Bo Duke?
continue on.
Is Johnson? Bo
Yes. Yes.
Duke? Okay.
It was Bo Duke. Them Duke boys.
Jonathan Kent from Smallville.
Them Duke boys better hope they grow some wings or start flapping them arms real hard. Anyway,
There was a chance to say Cooter there, but we, kind of missed it.
I can't say that anymore. He's a Colt.
Okay. All right.
My hopes and dreams all died with the addition of Jim Bob Cooter to the Indianapolis Colts. The report from The Athletic, put together as a staff report, said that before Seattle traded Russell Wilson to Denver, the quarterback went to the team and requested that they fire Pete Carroll and GM John Schneider. According to The Athletic, Wilson was convinced that Carroll and Schneider were inhibiting his quest to win additional Super Bowls, ... and individual awards, ... according to league sources who spoke to The Athletic on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the details. The quarterback had a preferred replacement for Pete Carroll in mind. Who was his preferred replacement? Sean Payton, formerly of the New Orleans Saints, who is now the head coach of who? The Denver Broncos.
I wanted to participate, but I would have called for sure. Sorry.
That's fair. Wilson placed his request to fire the coach and GM in February of 2022 within days of his call. Top team brass met and said, nope, bleep you, and traded him to Denver. Denver emerged as a candidate for Sean Payton, surprisingly so, because the teams that were mentioned as potential landing spots for Sean Payton were the teams in LA, the Chargers and the Rams, alongside a couple of other sunny teams, right? Teams that played in sunny locales. Denver was not on that list until they were. And now we find out that it may be because that's who, Russell Wilson wanted. So they made the call. Russell Wilson did. The Broncos were like, bleep you, get up out of here. You gone, bye. And sent him to Denver for a fistful of picks. He gets to Denver. Denver the next year, within the year, fires Nathaniel Hackett and hires Sean Payton. Now, this is kind of interesting to me, Zoe, because on one hand, Russell Wilson completed both phase 1 and 2 of the bleep around and find out process. However, he got to Denver and the Broncos gave him exactly what he wanted. They got rid of Nathaniel Hackett. Now, don't get me wrong. Nathaniel Hackett was bad at his job.
So what you're saying is because Russell Wilson wanted Sean Payton, he played poorly on the field as to get his head coach fired.
No, not at all.
And then bring in the
I
guy.
think-
Okay.
I think Nathaniel Hackett genuinely sucked at the job.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't put it on Russ. Now, and I say that because if the Athletic report is to be believed, Russell Wilson wanted Pete Carroll and John Schneider gone because he felt like they were inhibiting on his ability to win Super Bowls and personal and individual awards. I think Russ is showing himself as a guy who has more desire for success in his brand life than he does on the field. Now, that's not to say that I think Russ is going to turn up his nose at being a team player for the opportunity to win a Super Bowl, but I absolutely do wonder if there wasn't a point midway through the season when it became obvious that the Broncos were not good at football, that maybe Russ bought more into, all right, well, let me focus on brand building, right? You know, Russ started his line of kitchen appliances the Let Russ Cook series, or whatever the hell he called it. But at the same time, he ended up getting exactly what he wanted. Sean Payton as his head coach.
What other profession can you go and try to get your bosses fired and then go get the exact same job somewhere else and get exactly what you wanted?
Any one of them where you are responsible for a major part of the revenue of that outlet, right? I firmly believe, Lonzo, that you and I have both worked with, alongside, underneath hosts who generated such a ridiculous amount of revenue that they had more power than the people who were above them. Would you agree or disagree with that sentence? Or plead the fifth?
It's hard for me to do that.
Fair enough.
We've got some really powerful people around here. I'm just saying that,
I have, and I'm willing to say, I have absolutely, throughout my career, worked alongside hosts who would dictate to the programming director what was going to happen. And the PD would have to say yes, because they, threatening to go somewhere else to broadcast, threaten a major chunk of revenue, and that comes with power.
I've seen negotiation caused because of that sort of thing, and then compromise on both sides.
Sure.
So I guess to a degree I've seen it happen, but not to the absolute degree.
Sure. Quarterbacks at the NFL, we all agree it's a quarterback-driven league, right? I don't think I'm shaking any branches saying that.
Yeah, a center is not going to go up and have the same
Correct.
kind of power.
No. No other position is going to have this kind of power. It is a quarterback-driven league. If you want success in the National Football League, you must have a top-flight quarterback. It is not an option. It is a mandate at this point. So, quarterbacks can bleep around a little bit. Question is, how much finding out will they do? Russell Wilson found out that he was not going to be the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks if he continued to bleep around. So he found out, but still ultimately got what he wanted.
This is still another case of the NFL wanting to be the NBA, because what you're talking about in the NBA, a player can get a coach fired.
Sure.
I think NBA players have more power than an NFL quarterback.
Here's the reality. The reality here is that we as Americans, as a society, and I don't like being edgy teen lord that's like making general, broad, societal sweeping statements, but I'll make this one here. The next generation of Americans is focused on individuals, not the collective, right? They're focused on stars, which is why LeBron can play on 6 different teams in his career and still have an enormous fan base, because, you might have a team, but we have so much access to athletes we've never had before that we attach ourselves to individual athletes instead of the team concept. Whether that's good, bad, or indifferent is up for you to decide. A guy like Russ Wilson understands that, and understands that if he wants to have sustained, continued success after his career comes to its conclusion, he's got to build a brand based on Russell Wilson. And he's done that. He bleeped around in Seattle. The NFL is kind of, you're not entirely, well, you are right, Lonzo, in that the NFL does have a model similar to the NBA. I don't think the NBA set this model up intentionally. I think just basketball itself is much more, it is a team game where you have 5 guys on a team all playing individual basketball. And you gotta have cohesion. The NFL also recognizes that you do not sell teams anymore, you sell stars, right? You don't sell teams. You sell superstars. Go to any NFL stadium and look at the marketing that's on the side of the stadium. What do you see? Players, individual players, right? If we take a trip on down to sunny South Florida, down to Tampa, and go to the Ray J, what do you see on the banners around Ray J? Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady. You see players. You don't see big pictures of the team.
Well, I mean, I'm sure one picture has been taken down. I hope.
You get it. You don't see pictures of the team. You see pictures of the stars because people connect to stars, not teams, right? You combine that with the fact that the NFL is a quarterback-driven league that mandates you have successful play under center to win, and it makes sense that a guy like Russ might have a team go, nah, screw you. We ain't doing that. Get out. But then immediately have another team jump in and give him exactly what he wants. And that brings me to quarterback case number 2. That is the case of Lamar Jackson. It has now been made known that Lamar Jackson, who, by the way, is probably going to get franchise tagged this year, and Lamar Jackson, who, by the way, represents himself as his own agent, Lamar Jackson wants a contract bigger than Deshaun Watson's. Deshaun's contract with the Cleveland Browns completely exploded the quarterback market, right? Deshaun is a dude who hadn't played football in a year and a half and had 20 plus lawsuits for inappropriate sexual behavior off the football field levied at him. And the Browns still gave him 5 years, 200, and what was it, 46, 44, whatever, $1 million, all guaranteed. Now, if I asked you, if you were going to give that contract to Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson, who would you give it to? I think the majority, I'm not saying everybody, but the majority of us would give it to Lamar, not Deshaun, right? If those were the two options. So it is justifiable that Lamar Jackson asked for that amount of money. But you were talking about a contract that is going to eat up over 20% of a team's salary cap on an annual basis, right? And we heard that stat. I thought it was a great stat, right? I thought Mark brought up a great stat. No teams up until this year had a team with 17% or more of their salary cap going to a quarterback win the Super Bowl until this year. And now that number is 1 in 27. 28 times has a team gone to the Super Bowl paying their quarterback over 17% of the salary cap. One time has it turned into a Super Bowl. Lamar wants that and then more, right? So there's a lot of team owners who are going to be furious with the Cleveland Browns. But here's the question. If that is the contract that Lamar Jackson wants, right? Deshaun's contract, 20% of the cap, quarter bill over 5 years, guaranteed. If Baltimore franchise tags this guy, and then he decides to walk on the Ravens for 2024, and let's say he has a Pro Bowl year this year again. Lonzo, you think there's an NFL team out there that's going to give Lamar Jackson that contract?
That's the way things are trending. So, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the next guy up. So he's going to get his money.
Yeah. Exactly correct. It is exactly correct. Because the league is predicated both A, on quarterbacks, and B, on having a superstar. And any team that wins the Super Bowl is going to get an immense windfall. They're going to get profit out of the deal. But you got to have a great quarterback to win the Super Bowl, right? You just have to. So a team is going to give that money to Lamar Jackson. It's not a question of if, it is a question of when. It's going to happen. Now, Lamar wanted to be a Raven career. Baltimore does not appear to be willing to give him a Deshaun Watson contract. At least they have not been anywhere close to it yet. So he has bleeped around, and he will find out that wanting the most lucrative contract in the history of the National Football League is absolutely going to come and kill off the odds that he retires a Baltimore Raven, a guy who gave his whole career to one team. He's going to get shipped out because of it. but he's still going to get what he wants. He's going to get that contract. And this is part of the reason that I have said for a while that Carolina should make that move if Baltimore puts him on the block. I know you don't want to pay a guy a quarter bill over 5 guaranteed fully, but somebody's going to. Somebody's going to, and their team's going to be better off because of it, right? So why not just be the team that bites the bullet? Now, the only way that it makes sense not to do that is if you know that no NFL team is going to be willing to do that. Lonzo, you think Jerry Jones, if he believed Lamar Jackson can win him a Super Bowl, you think Jerry Jones would hand off a quarter bill?
Absolutely.
You're damn right. And keep in mind, the other aspect of this is the NFL teams cannot talk to each other about this, right? The Ravens could absolutely send out an email that goes, hey, Lamar wants a quarter bill, 5 years guaranteed. Don't give it to him, right? Don't blow up the market any worse than Cleveland has already have. But that would be illegal, like literally illegal. That's collusion. That is collusion that would threaten the NFL's antitrust law exemptions that they have in place. And I promise you, if there is one thing that a team will never get away with from the National Football League, it is creating a situation where the NFL's antitrust exemptions are threatened. Because if the NFL's antitrust exemptions were to go away, the NFL would lose billions of dollars to have to operate like a normal business. They are never going to let a team get away with that. So you cannot send out the email to the rest of the teams going, hey, don't give him that contract because you'll jack the market up forever. Which means some team is going to give him that. Jerry Jones would be first in line. You don't have to like it, but it will happen. So if I'm Carolina, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs approach. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have the smartest franchise building plan in the NFL right now. You get a super stud of a QB. You pay him 1/5 of your salary cap. Then you go get 6 to 8 great players. Travis Kelce, Orlando Brown Jr., etc. You pay them a combined 60% of your salary cap. And then you take that 20 other percent and you build the youngest team you can. You draft hard and heavy and well. And I think Carolina's got to be next in that. If Baltimore puts Lamar on the block, you got to give him that contract, because if you don't, someone else will, and you will be worse off for it. Unless you just get lucky with a Stroud or a Young or a Richardson, and they grow into Lamar. But how many Lamar Jacksons are there? There's one. There's one Mahomes. There's one Lamar. There's one Josh Allen. Maybe you get lucky and stumble into the guy. Maybe Anthony Richardson grows into that guy. But I'd take the gamble on the guy I know is that guy versus the guy I hope is that guy. But that's just me. 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. James on the stream says, no one wants to give away Deshaun contracts. The Browns messed everything up. Sure did. Thanks, Cleveland. But guess what? It's done now. Ain't no genie going back in no bottle, baby. What's up, Christina Aguilera? How you doing, girl? They did it. Now you got to play by those rules. So do you want to play by those rules and give it a crack? Or do you want to shoot the dice and see what comes up? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
And the Devils have the second most victories in the league behind the Boston Bruins, who have 44. The Senators, meanwhile, have points in 8 of 10, wins in 7 of those games. They're one up from the bottom in the Atlantic with 58 points. They're 27, 25, and 4. The Hornets open up the second half of the NBA season tonight. They're on the road visiting the Timberwolves. Charlotte's 17 and 43. They went into the All-Star break with wins in 2 straight. Baseball spring training play starts today. The Royals battle the Rangers. The Mariners face the Padres. Full slate of games tomorrow, including the Red Sox and Braves. Furman Paladins basketball plays all season long right here on the Fan Upstate. Download the Odyssey app, the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. The Sports Lounge-
Seattle Channel Curly Bill and said, well, bye. I just wanted to let you know it's over. Well, bye.
So they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what you use ZipRecruiter. There's so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it?
All my friends say I started shooting doubles when you walked in.
So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right. Free.
I don't know if you knew this. It's a No Country Friday.
That's ZipRecruiter.com.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a rule.
Like a federal holiday or something?
It's a building rule.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to make a joke, but we don't have a country station.
Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs, strange phenomena.
Reality itself. My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell. For some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weapons. Following this new Weaponized, the presentation of Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Dark Horse Entertainment, and Cleveland Spirit Team Studios. Available now for free on the Odyssey app, wherever you get your show.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love
Ooh, the texters are all over Big T today.
Great prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts.
That means she's being effective. Good job.
Let's ride.
I'm guessing she's never been called that before.
Big T?
Yes.
I don't know why I did.
Since she's like 4 foot tall. Or, yeah, it's just probably not.
You're championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all, here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to lighten it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
All right, Roger, I'm going to ask. You pop up every stream and say chomp chomp.
See, I was just thinking, you ain't getting me because I'm in for the long haul.
I
You can do it
can't,
every day.
I can't. I see it every day. What is chomp chomp?
It's a yeah.
What is this for?
I just thought, maybe it had something to do with Florida or it's noises I'm making over here because this microphone is extra sensitive. I agree, James. Actually, it should be extended to every day, period.
Bunch of haters. Cup of haters. Cup.
There are many more like us out there, Rob.
Cup of haters.
That's a good question, James.
The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He is Lonzo. March 7th is the final day that players can be franchise tagged. I've not seen any tags be applied yet. Obviously, a lot of teams will negotiate up until that day. So if Lamar Jackson is to be franchise tagged, it will likely be on March 7th. That being said, ESPN is currently reporting that Lamar Jackson has, to this day, February 24th, not reopened contract negotiations with the Baltimore Ravens yet. The Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson were negotiating a contract last offseason going into the regular season. Lamar said if a deal is not done before the regular season begins, that he would stop negotiations. He doesn't have an agent. He represents himself, and he did not want to get into contract negotiations during the regular season. He wanted to focus on the game, which is fine. I respect that. Listen, all I'm going to say is this. Every time that I've got a buddy who switches gigs, who starts looking for new work, I tell him, know your value, know your worth, right? Know your worth. There are some people who overestimate their worth. There are a lot more who vastly underestimate their worth. Lamar Jackson knows his worth. Lamar Jackson, based on the market that an NFL team said, and yes, it was a dumb move, right? I kind of compare the Cleveland Browns right now to what is going on in the world of big tech, right? When the pandemic began and everybody started working from home, we all started looking for ways to utilize technology to make our lives easier. We saw the rise of Zoom. We saw the return of Skype. We saw all these different technological wonders that started popping up. And big tech was like, yo, we got our worth. We got our value, right? And they started spending more money. They started bringing in tons of extra workers. Well, then the pandemic stopped. And we all went back to our regular day-to-day life. And all of a sudden, we weren't really leaning on tech quite as much, right? Like, yeah, a lot of us still use Zoom. I still use Zoom all the time. I'm on 3 or 4 Zoom meetings a week. But we don't have inter-office Zoom meetings anymore, right? If the Fan Upstate's got a meeting, we all walk down the hall to the big office. And then all of a sudden, the market that tech flooded with workers and R&D, et cetera, it kind of fell out from underneath them. And big tech is in the bleeper because of it right now. They are struggling. They are cutting jobs. They are cutting cost spending, et cetera. And the Cleveland Browns kind of did that. They kind of went, all right, we got to go all in right now. Fire's hot. There's no other opportunity like this. We got to go in. They spent all this money. And they have reset the market as a whole. Now, the market may fall off one day. It may be that nobody wants Lamar at $250 million and that worth comes down. But the reality is, as Lonzo said, there's a Jerry Jones out there somewhere that's going to be like, one shot. We haven't won a Super Bowl since 1991, 92. We got to give it a crack. And Lamar Jackson's going to get that money. And this is why I've said, I think you put the contract together. I think you give him what he's asking for, because if you don't, somebody else will. All right, we'll get away from this when we come back in hour number 2. I got a bunch of stuff to get into, and we'll do it next. Rob, Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. I started to tease and forgot what I was going to tease.
My fault. I'm distracting with all the coughing. I apologize. I'll do better. I hope.
Is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to you to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-932-8603 now.
Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive...
You're wrong, Trey. I'm just saying that.
car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today.
Trey, that's very good work, sir. That is very good work. Excellent, excellent joke.
Years in the making, and now the most epic comic and game store is finally here. Borderlands Comics and Games. Reimagined, bigger and better than before. This game is best in comics, manga, and gaming to the region for 3 decades. Come see us at our new enormous location at 410 South Pleasantburg. Live the Borderlands experience for yourself. We have gone to a whole new level. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Proud sponsors of the Upstate Pulse. Borderlands Comics and Games. Read, build, play.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate to the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Give your sweetheart an experience rather than a gift, like a night out for dinner or a couple's massage. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Hey, I'm in. I started Harry's because I was frustrated with buying razors at the drugstore. But when I say frustrated, I mean like so upset I called my friend Jeff. Hello, this is Jeff. Jeff, I'm at the store, and I don't get why these razors cost so much. Yeah, and do they need to look like robots? I know, and it's so frustrating how expensive they are. Getting ripped off sucks. We gotta do something about this. Why don't we make our own high-quality razors at much better prices? Actually, I heard about this German razor factory that makes some really high-quality blades. Really? Okay, maybe that's not exactly how it went. Well, we did try that German factory. They're returning high-quality...
I've tried that before, Roger. It doesn't work. And I don't really have that much drainage going on right now. It's just become a dry cough. And probably need to do the old wives remedy thing and start gargling some salt water. Or get me some chicken soup.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Just one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
The Rob Brown Show, now 19.
I wonder genuinely how long ago they put that turf down. You're not going to test it on the Super Bowl field because if you go out there and you screw the turf up, right? Now you got a big old gash in the field before the Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, like it or hate it, the Super Bowl is a spectacle on television, and the presentation of that game is as important as anything else. So they wouldn't have done that. What I will say is, hey, NFL may not have been quite as lush or quite as green, but you know who knows a little thing or two about operating the field at State Farm Insurance Stadium or whatever it's called? The freaking Cardinals do. Maybe just have the teams that run the building, because you and I both know there's nobody who cares more about the field in Arizona than the team that plays half their games in Arizona.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 9 to noon, only on The Fan Upstate.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search The Fan Upstate.
Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville, the official sports voice of you, the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Always live from the
Man, check this out.
You're an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represent freedom win. Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
States.
Our numero dos starts right now. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown and the great one Lonzo coming your way on a Friday morning. Having a little fun on the radio broadcast today. All right. I want to talk NFL draft for a couple of minutes as we are rapidly approaching round number 1, pick number 9, Carolina Panthers. Lonzo, what is, in your opinion, the absolute best case scenario, the dream scenario for the Carolina Panthers picking at 9? What's the best thing that could work out in their favor?
They have to pick at 9. So the best thing can't be that
Let's
they
say
trade everything
right,
away.
without making a trade, what's the absolute best thing that could happen to them if they do not make a move?
CJ Stroud drops to 9.
Do you think they're what
You
probability?
ask what's the best
I
thing.
agree with you. I agree with you. That is the best thing. What are the odds that happens? What's the probability percentage wise that CJ Stroud's available at 9?
1%.
1%. Unless you like fractions, and then like 1/10 of 1%. I agree with you. That's best case scenario. CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, for whatever reason, just fall to 9, just tank. But that's not going to be the case. If you're going quarterback, the best possible possibility, obviously, is that Levis or Richardson are available at number 9. But you see, Rob Brown doesn't like to focus on the positive. Rob Brown likes to focus on the negative. I'm just a cynical, pessimistic guy.
He is the darkness to my sunshine.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. The yin to Lonzo's yang. So let me play that role. I am going to be the pessimist. And here's the reason. I don't know about you, Zo, but when I was growing up, my old man used to tell me, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, right? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Because if you prepare for the worst and the best happens, the best happened. And the only thing it cost you was the prep time to be prepared for the worst. If you prepare for the worst and something in the middle happens, great. You were prepared for not the best, and you can make the most of it. And if you prepare for the worst and the worst happens, you're prepared. It makes perfect sense. So I always like to address the worst because I think that's what you should be prepared for. Not to say hope for the worst, but prepare for it. So what is the worst possible outcome? The worst possible outcome that you could expect for the Carolina Panthers. And I figured out what it is, Lonzo. The worst possible outcome for the Carolina Panthers is the Chicago Bears decide not to trade the number 1 overall draft pick, right? Not to trade it. If they do decide not to trade it, let me rephrase that. Let me add on one more addendum. The worst case scenario is the Chicago Bears decide not to trade the number 1 draft pick and decide to not trade Justin Fields. They decide to hang on to Justin Fields and select not a quarterback, right? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what position player they go with, right? Now, if they don't make the move there, they're likely going to go with the guy who is considered the best player in this draft, Jalen Carter, Georgia's defensive tackle, a guy that is already projected as a rookie to be a defensive player of the year candidate for next year. He's that much of a monster. So let's say the Bears do not trade out of the number 1 pick and decide to go best available, and they go with Jalen Carter. Why is this a massive problem? Here's why. Texans are sitting at number 2. The Texans are going to take a quarterback. The only question is which one? Is it CJ Stroud? Is it Bryce Young? If my worst case scenario is playing out and the Chicago Bears decide to not trade their pick and not draft the quarterback and go Jalen Carter, they get either one of them, right? They get either Stroud or Young. They take their pick. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, James just hit us up on the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or search and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show on either Twitch or YouTube. The Fan Upstate YouTube channel will be up by the end of today. I've got a meeting at 12:30 to get that ready to go. The Cardinals, from what we know of today, and again, it is smokescreen season. Everybody's trying to cover their tracks the best they can right now. But there are no reports that Arizona has any intention of trading down. Now, that might change, right? That might change. The popular thought right now is that Bryce and CJ are coming off the board 1 and 2. Order is irrelevant. They're coming off the board 1 and 2, which means that the best 2 players on the board, Jalen Carter and Will Anderson Jr., would both be available at number 3. And there's no value in trading back there, right? Now, if the Texans or the Bears were to draft not a quarterback, then maybe there's some interest from Arizona to slide back, right? Because Carolina might be willing to jump up to number 3 to get ahead of Indianapolis. Indianapolis might be willing to make a trade to jump up from 4 to 3 to make sure nobody gets ahead of them. But from right now, there does not appear to be any interest from Arizona to move back, which means that they've got their eye on either Anderson or Carter at number 3. The Colts go at number 4. They're taking a quarterback. Now, if the Bears do not trade number 1 and take a non-quarterback, more than likely, that means that either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud will be available at 4. Carolina's worst case scenario is Indy's best case scenario. If Chicago does not drop out of number 1 overall and does not take a quarterback, it almost guarantees that either Stroud or Young will be available at number 4. That, or they've only got to give up like a 2nd and a 5th to move up 1 spot. Lock out the 3 spot. Move Arizona down 1 and take one of those guys off. Now you've started a quarterback run. At 5, you've got the Seattle Seahawks. They are going to draft defense, right? I don't know if they bring Geno back. Geno had a good year this year, comeback player of the year. But they're not pushing for a quarterback. I think they go defense. The next best edge rusher and probably overall defensive player on the board is Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. I think that's where Seattle goes. Now we get interesting, Lonzo, because at 6, you've got Detroit. Detroit, working with Jared Goff, has made it known that they are now looking for their quarterback of the future, right? They're going to have another year or 2 of Jared Goff, perfect opportunity to bring in a rook QB and let him learn from a guy, from a dude. At number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders. They need a quarterback. Derek Carr is a free agent. They ain't got a guy as of right now. At number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. They need a quarterback. Marcus Mariota is not coming back. Desmond Ritter's not the dude. So there are 3 teams right ahead of Carolina, all who need a quarterback. If Chicago does not draft a quarterback at number 1, but stay in that position, Stroud or Young is off the board at 2. Stroud or Young is off the board at either 3 or 4. And now you got 3 teams ahead of Carolina because I don't think Arizona's interested in trading back. I don't think Seattle is interested in trading back. So if you are Carolina and neither of those teams are initially interested in trading back, you would likely have to give up a package similar to, probably not quite as expensive, but similar to what you would have to give the Bears to get to 1 overall, to get to 3 overall, to get either Young or Stroud, or to get to 5 overall, get ahead of Detroit, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. And then you're trading up to 5 overall to get Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. And this is why this spot sucks. I think Anthony Richardson, as I've mentioned to you guys a number of times, Anthony Richardson's got all the physical tools. He's got the speed. He's got the vision. The only thing he doesn't have is accuracy. He finished his only season as a starter at the University of Florida last year with a 53.7-ish % completion percentage. Do you know, Lonzo, how many first-round quarterbacks in the history of the NFL have ever been drafted in the top 10 with a completion percentage below 54%?
I'm going to go with 0.
That is the correct answer.
And probably should remain the same.
That is the correct answer.
Because if you're going for a guy who's not accurate, you've already got that. You've already had that the last couple of years.
That is the correct answer. But here's an interesting number. Do you know who the last 2 quarterbacks to be drafted inside of the top 10 with a completion percentage below 58% are? Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. That intrigues me a little bit, right? Because Anthony Richardson's a full 3.5, 4 percentage points worse than Allen and Jackson. But those are 2 dudes who were criticized for their lack of accuracy out of college, who I would both say are having some success at the league, right? But Anthony Richardson at 9, totally fine with that pick. The more I look at it, the more I'm okay with that pick. Anthony Richardson at 9 is good. Will Levis at 9. No problem with that pick. Another guy kind of similar.
By the way, they're only good if you're going to start them right away. Yeah, they're only good if you're going to start them right away. If not,
neither one of those guys is start right away material.
Well, then pick a player that will, and just go the route that you've been going, and go get a transfer quarterback. Go do that, and pick a better player. You just don't pick a project at 9. If you're going to do that, you can get a quarterback in the 2nd round.
Who?
Or you keep one that you already did that on in Matt Corral.
At 9, fine with Richardson, fine with Levis. Both of those guys, and here's why.
The Panthers classically have drafted really well, especially in the 1st round. I don't think they pick a guy that's not going to play.
I think you do at quarterback because of exactly what we talked about to round out the last hour. It's a quarterback-driven league. You got to have one. How many times have we said that? If you get Stroud or Young, they are week 1 starters, right? If you end up with C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, you are week 1 starter material. Richardson and Levis are both guys that are going to require development. Richardson for his accuracy, Levis for his mental composure in the pocket. You got to develop that. I would rather work on Anthony Richardson's mechanics and accuracy than try to change the mental workings of Will Levis to give him more pocket composure, right? I am not willing to trade up from 9 to 5 for Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. It's going to cost me too much. It's going to not only cost you the 9 spot, but probably like a 2nd and a 5th or a 2nd and a 4th to get to that spot, right? I would take either one of those guys at 9. I would not trade for either one of the 5. Unfortunately for Carolina, and this is why I said Chicago staying at 1 and drafting a not quarterback is the worst possible outcome because it's going to push Stroud and Young, one of them available down at 4, which means you either have to trade up to Arizona at 3. Arizona knows exactly what that means to you, meaning they're going to charge you as much as it would have cost you to get to 1 overall, to get to 3, to take whoever is left after the Texans get first pickings at the table. Or you got to sit at 9. And you got to watch Stroud and Young come off the board 2 and 4, and either trade up to 5 with Seattle to get out ahead of Detroit, Vegas, and Atlanta, all of whom want a quarterback, or you got to sit there at 9 and you got to take somebody else, right? Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois, is a top 10 pick. He will be worth it. Miles Murphy out of Clemson, top 10 projected pick. He would be worth it. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon, top 10 pick. He would be worth it. There are a number of guys that are definite top 10 picks instead of Levis and Richardson, who are questionable top 10 picks, but because they're a quarterback, they get made into a top 10 pick. If Chicago stays at 1 and does not draft a quarterback, it is the absolute worst case scenario for the Panthers, because now you've either got to make a massive trade to get the remnants of Stroud or Young, which may not be the one that you wanted, or you got to make a massive trade to 5, and then you got to take Richardson or Levis at a much higher cost than I think that they would make it to, or you would pay for them if they made it to 9. If Chicago takes a draft, takes a trade out from 1, and they bump down the board, they are still going to be ahead of Carolina. But I think you see less movement, A. And B, I think it gives you an opportunity to get out ahead, specifically if you make that number 1 pick. But looking at Detroit, Vegas, and Atlanta all ahead of Carolina, Lonzo, it basically comes down to this for me. If you're going to make a move, you have to make a move to number 1, right? You have to make a move to number 1, because if anybody else jumps to 1, you're kind of screwed. If you wait to see what Chicago does and Indy jumps up to 1, Stroud and Young are both off the board 1 and 2. If anybody else moves up to 1, Stroud and Young are off the board 1 and 2. We've all kind of been working under the assumption that either Levis or Richardson would make it to 9, but the more I've thought about it, the more I'm not convinced that is the case. I think they could both be gone by 9, which makes a trade up to either 4 with Chicago. Because if Chicago trades back from 1, they would likely be willing to trade back again to keep stockpiling picks. So maybe you trade with Chicago up to 4 to get out ahead of Richardson, Levis, and going to Detroit, Vegas, or Atlanta, or you trade to Seattle to go to number 5. Maybe you save a little bit and jump out there, but either way, you're still going to be giving up picks to then get Richardson or Levis, and it won't be a ton cheaper. If Carolina's going to make a move, though, you've been screaming this for the past 2 weeks. If the Panthers are going to make a move, the only move that makes sense to me at this point is to go to number 1 overall.
Absolutely, that's the only move to make. If that's your guy, then you're willing to give up as much you have to give up to go get him. If not, I don't even know if I stay at 9. If there are no quarterbacks available and that's what you want, trade out of 9, get some more picks out of it, and pick up some more spots for everywhere else and go after a free agent. So I think you got to go all in. If you're willing to get a quarterback in the draft, you've got to try to get to number 1.
Yeah, and again, I think we've all kind of been comfortable sitting back with, well, we'll just take 1 at 9, right? Even Rashad Beard joins us every Thursday from the Panther Nation podcast. Even he said, if we end up with Richardson or Levis at 9, I'm fine with that. But the more I really sit down and look at this, the more I'm not convinced Richardson or Levis will make it to 9, right? If you want a quarterback in this draft, I think you have to trade up to number 1. I don't think you have any other option. I think if you trade anywhere but number 1, the cost value is not there, right? Because what I don't want to do is trade to 4 or 5 for Richardson or Levis. I don't think they're quite worth that. A first-round selection on the actual pick plus a haul of other picks for Levis or Richardson. And that's what they're going to cost at this point, in my opinion. I would rather just give up the extra 2 or 3 picks to move all the way up to 1 and guarantee that I get pick of the litter. And I think that's the only option here. Your option is either, because I think Richardson and Levis are off the table if you stay at 9. Your options are either you bring in a vet, Carr, Rodgers, Jackson, Garoppolo, or you trade to number 1. I don't think anything else is a possibility or option. 844-FAN-FONE, 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307. Start your text with FAN. Hudson jumps in and says, Hendon Hooker! All caps, by the way. Hooker's going to be available around 20. Honestly, if you want Hendon Hooker, you can trade back a couple of spots if you're Carolina, right? Let's see. Trey says, wouldn't Miles Murphy be a great fit opposite of Brian Burns or Jalen Carter next to Derek Brown? That's if the Panthers get a quarterback in free agency. I mean, yeah, if you end up with Miles Murphy or Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez, it means you did not get a quarterback, right? It means you went quarterback free agency. Now, if I could stab a Miles Murphy onto that DL, you might have the most dominant defensive front seven in football, right? Problem with a guy like Miles Murphy is he is an edge rusher. Ejiro Evero runs a 3-4. It doesn't really take great use of edge rushers. They'll show up in the hybrid scheme, but if we're going to go 3-4, I would honestly rather end up with a dominant outside 3-4 linebacker, a guy who can cover a little bit. And when we get closer to the draft and we start cranking out our mock drafts, I'll tell you some of the players that fit that profile. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. I got a few more things I want to get to. The ACC has taken a lot of hits for not really being in the playoff profile that they should be, or at least fans want them to be. I think that could change this year. I'll tell you why. 2 different college basketball promotions led to 2 different all-time college basketball moments after the past few days. I'll share those with you. And take your answers down right now. What got me more viewers, the NBA All-Star Game or the NFL's flag football game? I'll tell you the answer to that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Currently, 69. The NHL can be hard to decipher for bettors. Here's an example. The Boston Bruins are an incredible 43-8 overall and 35-20 against the spread. But the Philadelphia Flyers, who are just 23-25 overall, are a surreal 39-20 against the spread. This is a reminder that just because a team has a 500 record or below doesn't mean that you shouldn't bet them to cover. I'm Trista Crick, helping you read the books.
For the books.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you can cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's A-N-G.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP,
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR, includes 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Greenville area attorneys. 5580 Bay Suite 900, Greenville, South Carolina.
The guy just responded to my Men in Black tweet with, "Hey Rob, big fan, bleep you."
More focus, more heads, and more highlights. And that means more wins for all of us.
It's our ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus special financing and Monday. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
My favorite thing about the Upstate is the pride I sense in each of you that you're from here. It's evident in all you do. Since 1916, Smith & James Men's Clothing has been an Upstate staple. They are the fabric of the community, literally. And Smith & James thrives because they succeed at their mission to make you look your best. Believe me, if they can make me look good, they can do it for anybody. I'm the before picture. Visit Smith & James at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville, and visit them online at smithandjames.com.
Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air, and Electric.
At Corley Plumbing, Air, and Electric, we offer same-day scheduling to meet your needs. Call Corley Plumbing, Air, and Electric today, or skip the line and book online. CorleyPro.com. That's CorleyPro.com.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Friday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, Heisman Trophy voter Brent Beard joins the show, as does Kevin Moore. He's got his projections for the 2023 college football season. And in my opinion, college basketball is the sport that needs the greatest amount of fixing. So we will make the necessary corrections there.
Sports Talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7. The Fan.
Upstate.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Good to have you. I am Rob. Lonzo is in charge of every sound entering your ear holes today. 844-326-3663. Text 71307. Start your text with Fan. Texter said, Rob, what about Stetson Bennett as Carolina's pick? A couple of things. Number one, I don't get the impression that Stet Bennett really wants to be an NFL quarterback, right? Like, he did not put in the draft day papers super early. In fact, I'll be honest with you right now. It's kind of my job to know these things. I don't know that Stetson Bennett has filed for the NFL draft yet. Let me look and see if I can find out. But, if a two-time national championship winning quarterback filed his papers, it likely would have come across my my desk at some point. I didn't see it. I'm not saying he hasn't. I just don't know, right? I will tell you that I follow a bunch of different draft boards, a bunch of different draft profilers, etc. I have not seen Stetson Bennett labeled as anything more than a third-round quarterback. The highest I saw him taken was at the very end of the second round. That's the highest I've seen, is the very end of the second round. But I've not seen him taken any higher than that. The overwhelming majority of mocks have him somewhere around the middle to late third round, a couple falling as far as the middle to late fourth round.
A couple of things I just checked are projected him on day 3.
There you go. Which makes him a late round pick. And yeah, I think that's it. I think you're gonna see Stet Bennett if he wants to give it a crack as kind of a journeyman experimental quarterback. Maybe he goes in and blows people away. But he's not viewed that way by most NFL draft scouts. Certainly not a guy that Carolina's going to pick. I mean, they could still pick him. They could pick him in, like Alonzo mentioned, probably day 3, right? At the absolute worst, at the very tail end of day 2, if they want that experiment. But Matt Corral is on the roster. You're likely going to end up with a quarterback somewhere. That being said, I don't think I want to go into fall camp with Matt Corral and Stet Bennett as my only 2 quarterbacks, right? Now, if I'm signing a vet, if I'm bringing in Jimmy G or Aaron Rodgers or Lamar or Derek Carr, then I might actually take a flyer on Stet Bennett late. And I would put the screws to Corral and Bennett both and be like, hey, look, somebody's going to win the number 2 job and somebody's going to get a crack at starting for us next season. Whoever shows up and out this season is going to get that starter's job for next year and let them learn under a vet quarterback. But that seems like a big risk to me. All right, college basketball. One of my favorite things about basketball games at the college level, if you get the chance to go to them, is promotions that they run within the game, right? They'll do like, it's whatever night at the year. It's hot dog night, $1 hot dogs for everybody or whatever. I'm going to grab a soundbite here, Lonzo, if you don't mind. I'm going to grab soundbite number 3. There was a game the other night between Virginia Tech and Miami, if I recall correctly. And it led to one of the most electric atmospheres in all of college basketball. Why? Because it was giveaway night. Reese Davis was on the call for this game. Late in the game, 4:31 on the clock, the Miami Hurricanes get fouled and send a shooter to the line. Now, I've seen this promotion happen a lot in the basketball world, Lonzo. There's a promotion that if any player from the opposing team misses consecutive free throws in the last minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, everybody in the building wins free blank. I know for down in New Orleans at one point, it was everybody in the building wins a free smoothie from Smoothie King. I think Atlanta did everybody in the building wins free Bojangles, like a chicken box from Bojangles. I've seen it done at the NBA level. I've seen it done at the college level. Virginia Tech decided to go all in. Everybody in the arena was going to get a free prize. Here's Reese Davis on the call.
So disappointed. I mean, an amazing moment, and Reese Davis, he undersold it. It's bacon, man. Why are you not going nuts? Why are we not getting a do you believe in miracles moment? It's bacon. Come on, Reese. You're not a vegan, are you? I mean, because I didn't hear the excitement. You didn't get the same kind of excitement out of Reese that you did out of that crowd.
So, Lonzo and I have had our disagreement about bacon in the past. That is to say, the proper way to prepare and consume.
And the disagreement continues and will never change until Rob comes around to the right side.
Rob currently resides squarely in the center of the right side. Floppy bacon for the win. But this is kind of one of those spots where the enemy of the enemy is my friend. Because while Lonzo prepares his bacon incorrectly, that is to say crispy, and Rob prepares his bacon correctly, that is to say floppy, Lonzo and I will stand together and roll up our sleeves to take down the heathens and monsters that reside in the anti-bacon camp.
Absolutely. We are one in this.
Yes. Because while we may disagree on the preparing style of bacon, we will absolutely go to battle over the greatness of the perfect food, bacon. I have seen fast food given away in this. I have seen smoothies given away for this giveaway. I have seen t-shirts thrown into the crowd for this giveaway. Never in my life have I seen a college basketball team give away slabs of bacon in this giveaway. And
I was going to ask you if you knew how much bacon they were actually. I mean,
this is
a pound of bacon. I mean, how much bacon are we?
Virginia Tech was taking on number 13 Miami. Miami was up 6 with 4:31 left to play. Virginia Tech had some momentum at this point. This was a sold-out arena. All right, Blacksburg was hopping this night. So I got to imagine that there was in the ballpark of like 8,000 to 12,000 people in this arena. And ordinarily what you'll do is somebody who's worked in game ops before. For a giveaway like this, though, ordinarily when you leave, they will have the promo team and the cheerleader standing by the door with a coupon, and you bring that coupon to wherever they're giving this away. So you would get a little business card that says 1 slab or pound or package of free bacon courtesy of grocery store X.
Slab sounds cool, but they ain't giving away no slab.
I don't even know how much a slab is.
I think it's a
like
lot.
10 pounds.
I don't know.
A pound. I don't know. But you would get a little business card that says, bring this card to whatever store by Sunday night and receive a free package of bacon, right? Swamp Rabbits do this. If the Bits score a goal in the last 5 minutes, everybody wins a prize from one of the restaurants downtown, and you get a little coupon when you walk out the door. Good for your free entree, and you have like 2 days to claim it or something like that.
All right.
Never seen bacon given away.
This is not as much as I thought it would be, according to the internet. So it's true. Each order contains 1 2-pound uncut bacon slab.
So 2 pounds of bacon.
Dry cured, not refrigerated. So it's
that's a solid snack.
That's actually according to the Boss Hog Hickory smoked unsliced slab bacon.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you straight up. Whatever that source is, I trust it inherently.
Yeah, it's Boss Hog Hickory smoked unsliced slab bacon. I get me some of that.
I will say this: Reese on that call was good, not great, good. I will tell you that, in my opinion, as a play-by-play guy, there's 2 lessons when you start doing play-by-play that you learn. And these are the 2 things whenever I mentor somebody getting into this game that wants to do play-by-play. There are 2 things that I tell every one of them. Number 1, you are painting a picture with words, right? It is not just about Burns moving left to right. There's the snap. There's the carry. There's the tackle. Ball's now at the 32-yard line, right? You got to describe it. I want to be able to see it. Tell me the colors of the uniforms. Tell me about the texture of the grass on the field. Tell me about the color of the sunset. Tell me about the flag waving. Tell me about the flag hanging down, indicating there's no wind. Paint a picture that is more than just a literal description of what happens. But the second thing that I tell them is let the moment breathe, right? Let the moment breathe. If you've got a mic down in the crowd and your team knocks down a big 3 to take their first lead of the game and the crowd pops off, it's okay to let that moment breathe, to let the crowd be the communicator, not you. If you've got field mics set up and the players score right in front of the field mic, and they're all jumping around and hooting and hollering and celebrating. Let the players provide the audio for a minute. Let the fans, by way of the ambient noise of the scene, feel like they are there instead of like they're being talked to not, right? That has always been the lesson number 2. I feel like there has probably been no bigger celebration, no more important moment of joy in college basketball this year than the moment that an arena full of Hokies all won a package of bacon, and Reese could have let that moment breathe, because if there is one thing from that Virginia Tech Miami game that all of us understood, that all of us got, that all of us could emotionally connect to, it is the raw, unbridled joy of recognizing there was unexpected bacon that has just been delivered to your life.
All right, so here's the thing. I get everything you're saying about background and all that kind of stuff. You need a sturdy guy in there. You need a hefty guy. You need a large individual who is so happy that he's getting the bacon. Jim Ross would have killed that call. You throw Jim Ross in there, he's going to let you know about the bacon. You can throw some Lawler in there in the background, because Lawler also would be happy about the bacon. But Jim Ross would have torn that up.
As a current
Sturdy.
As a current sturdy, hey, is there any chance you've got loaded in that computer just ambient background crowd noise, like stadium crowd noise? Do we know?
No.
Okay. Because if I'm on that call, I can tell you exactly how it's going down. Morgan at the line, shooting 2, 4:31 showing on the clock. The Hokies trail by 6, 64-58. They've cut into the lead. The momentum leaning the way of the team in white from Blacksburg. Morgan steps to the line, shooting 2 for Miami. This would be a great opportunity for him to take a little bit of that momentum away. But before he puts up free throw number 1, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why this crowd is into this. There is a promotion going on tonight at the arena. If any Miami Hurricane player was to miss 2 back-to-back consecutive free throws, everyone in this arena is walking out with a package of bacon. And if there is one thing that all of us know, it is bacon. It's the perfect food. And we all know that unexpected bacon is one of the greatest gifts that life can hand you at any given point. Morgan puts up free throw number 1. It is no good. The roof is coming off of the arena. A second missed free throw will not only keep their basketball team within striking distance late in the second half, but everybody is walking out of here more happy than they walked in. The free throw is up. Clang! No good! No good! It's very random that there was that moment where everybody in the arena went silent, but then got right back into it. That was a hell of an effort, Lonzo. Hell of an effort.
I just grabbed the actual
you nailed
from the bacon game. But your delivery was fine. I'm good with it, but still, I need Jim Ross. I need someone who enjoys.
My God, that's bacon's music.
Exactly. I mean, dude's got barbecue sauce, so he will definitely have appreciation of bacon.
Congrats, Virginia Tech, on winning the greatest giveaway of all time. By the way, UConn beat Providence at home the other night. Their coach gave credit to their crowd, too. Do you know what he credited their win with? He thanked the fans because it was $2 beer night in the arena. And he said, for some reason, on $2 beer night in the arena, he said it was louder than he can remember any other game.
All right, we got to go to break, but Hudson just killed it. Rip off the roof and light the fires. We're cooking now. It's bacon time, baby.
I love how you couldn't help but slip into the country accent there. Free bacon will make anybody do it.
Absolutely.
By God, we're back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Ups. Oh my God, it's pandemonium in here.
in basketball when they visit Sanford. It's at 2 o'clock tip-off. We'll have all the action live right here on the Fan. Upstate, Sanford's 15-2 atop the
Call 800-932-8603 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered.
No bacon. I don't like this one damn bit, King. I don't know. I feel like Jesse the Body would have been great on that call too.
Probably. I see. It's got to be someone with a lot of emotion. Like your boy, Kevin Patrick.
What do you have to lose? Call 800-932-8603. Again, 800.
McAfee would have sold that really well.
Oh yeah.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services.
Although, is the heel guy happy about bacon?
Access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you
So
need.
Wade Barrett would have, went totally against the bacon.
I just love every free throw made. Wade going, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Then the next promo would be from a heel talking about all the fatties in the crowd that's so excited about getting free bacon.
And all you fat slobs here in Blacksburg.
You don't care about a real sport like wrestling. All you care about is free bacon.
The chairs are normal size, you fat pieces of trash.
And what did we learn along the way? Well, that an EV can take on the world, like the Nissan Leaf. It can move racing forward and take your breath away, like the all-new Nissan Ariya.
You're right, Josh. I think Taz would have sold it too. And actually, he would have been very convincing because we know Taz probably eats a lot of bacon.
That was Otis's favorite promotion.
Can't wait for the Otis makeover. That's just going to be amazing.
Otis as a male maximum model is going to be beyond incredible.
Unleash your power. And the ding. Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per month. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customers.
So Cameron tried out and made it on the praise band. So now he's playing bass again. I'm happy he's playing, man, because he was really getting into it. Was on stage within 3 months of learning how to play, and then the band broke up and he just stopped. And it's like, if you would have kept playing,
yeah,
make up for missed time though. Play as much as you can.
Oh yeah. You do not know when your last gig is. I'll go ahead and tell you, when I call play-by-play for teams, Lonzo, and it's a gig, like any other job. If I'm getting paid to do play-by-play, I try not to take advantage of the situation, right? Like with Burns, when I got there, they're like, hey, man, we got gear. I'm like, hey, listen, I need a polo and I need a hat. I need something to wear when we're on road trips, right? With the bits, I don't take advantage of the situation. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if I'm Reese Davis, you better damn well believe I'm grabbing my free bacon coupon on the way out the door. I don't even know if I turn it in for the bacon. I think I just keep it as a souvenir of my favorite call of all time, right?
Well, if you're Reese Davis and you're going up to get the coupon, someone's filming you. You're grabbing that. You're jumping up and down like you just won the lottery.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's what I would do.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Let me get this one in real quick before we head to the third, final, and best, the Money Hour of the Rob Brown Show coming up here in just a couple of minutes. The ratings are in for the 2023 NBA All-Star Game, the annual exhibition held this year in Utah, home of the Jazz. According to John Lewis of Sports Media Watch that tracks these kinds of things, he said that, quote, Sunday's NBA All-Star Game averaged a combined 2.2 rating and a 4.59 million viewership across TNT and TBS, making it easily the lowest rated and least watched edition of the game. The previous lows were a 3.1. Those were the last 2 years, and around 6 million viewers in 2021. This rating marked a 29% decline from last year, the steepest year-to-year dip in over 20 years. Now, we're not exactly sure what caused the nosedive in viewership. One of the things could have been the fact that there were so many of the league's biggest names not involved. Steph Curry was not there, leg injury. Zion Williamson was not there, leg injury. LeBron and Giannis both played, but Giannis was in for like 20 seconds before he checked out because of his wrist injury. LeBron checked out after, 1 quarter with a hand injury as well. That being said, I'm kind of at this point thinking to myself, maybe we just dump all-star games, right? The only all-star game that still gets ratings is Major League Baseball's all-star game. It still does numbers. But the NFL ran its flag football game this year and got higher ratings than the last edition of the full contact pro game. And the NFL's flag football game got better ratings than the NBA all-star game, like by a lot. Just go to the skills competition. Do something different. Do something that fans don't get to see on a regular basis if we're going to do this. Back after this for the third hour of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Thank you, because I was having trouble finding the bed.
It's
like, I just grabbed it. Where is it?
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Gary David back
Yeah,
with
that's
Travis Henson,
short.
owner of CNT Foundations. Travis, is there really a difference in foundation repair companies?
Absolutely, Gary. And choosing the wrong one can be costly. What sets us apart is that we're real, local general contractors offering homeowners lifetime solutions. And we value customer satisfaction over customer volume.
Call 864-581-3341. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts. This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. It's good news for all Americans who owe back taxes to the IRS or state and struggling to pay them. The IRS is now making it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in this current economic downturn, qualifying for this program will settle your delinquent tax problem, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. For this free information and to see if you qualify, call the hotline at the Tax Hardship Center by dialing 800-411-6406. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes and cannot afford to pay them, there's no need to worry. You may now qualify to settle your delinquent tax problem and save thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-411-6406. 800-411-6406. That's 800-411-6406.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM.
When is Zion not injured? Question mark. Never.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at The Fan.
FanUpstate.com.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, listen to The Fan Upstate on Odyssey no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search The Fan Upstate and you're in the game. Hey, how we roll? The Fan Upstate. The Rob Brown Show. Now 9 to noon.
I like this staff, not just because of the names on it and not just because of the XP they bring, but because if Frank Reich is a good somebody that asked me the other day what I meant by XP. I was like, we would not be friends.
Inevitably bump heads about the right thing to do. If Frank can navigate all of those storms, this staff could be scary.
There are those out there who don't understand. They weren't from your generation, were they?
I feel like XP's been around for a long time.
Right, but still.
Same great show, new time. Now 9 to noon, only on the Fan Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville, the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. From the free Odyssey.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represent Freedom Green. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show. Get raw. Only
The Fan Upstate.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. A little audio energy to get your day started as we head towards the lunch break on the final work day of the week for, well, most of us. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. This is an interesting weekend, Lonzo. We got Fontana in NASCAR. We got an NBA playoff race that is very contentious, specifically in the West for the last couple of spots in the play-in spots. But this is the first weekend in a while, sports-wise, where it doesn't really feel like there's a lot going on.
Wait a minute. You mean week number 2 of XFL doesn't get you going?
Apparently, there was a game last night. I didn't even know.
There was?
Yeah.
Okay.
The St. Louis Battlehawks. Oh, by the way, this is amazing. The San Antonio Brahmas, the team they named after The Rock, have already fired their top-level executive, and we don't know why. 1 weekend, not even a full weekend to week 1 of the XFL season, one of their teams has already fired one of their top-level executives and not released the reasoning why.
Will he later have a hostile takeover and make his way back in?
It was me, Dwayne. It was me all along. I have no idea. But we'll call it interesting. Anybody watching the XFL yet?
James is right. He was a jabroni.
He was a jabroni.
Yeah, can't have that.
Have any of you watched any XFL? Text me your thoughts on it right now.
I did.
Did you?
I recorded the first game and actually watched a little bit of the special that was on before it, which was all leading into the XFL. And at the end of it, The Rock kind of like walks off the one program into the other one. Very WWE-ish, if you will. And
Did they lean into that a little bit?
From a production standpoint, you could see that type of thing.
What would you say? How would you say it compares to like NFL teams taking the field, right? You go to Atlanta, they've got flamethrowers. They shoot big arcs of flame as the team comes out. You get the big inflatable mascots and helmets they run out of. They got the fog machines. Players come out carrying American flags and all that. I mean, it's quite the production. Would you say they tried to go overboard with that, or was it pretty in line?
All right, let's go back 30 years, actually like 35 years ago or so when the World League was around. It still reminds me of the World League. Went to a couple of World League games in the Horseshoe, actually.
I don't mean to make you feel bad, but I do not know what the hell you're talking about right now.
But exactly. That's my point. The World League of Football. It was an NFL offshoot. I saw George Teague play and some other guys, some names that actually were in the NFL were in the World League.
Okay.
I think I still have a stadium cushion from the World League at home. But the World League is akin to USFL, is akin to the XFL, all that kind of stuff. It's another one that started up, lasted a little while, and then was gone.
Okay. I remember.
But the crowds were exactly like it is for the XFL. There's not that many people there. It's almost like going to see a Division III football game, although there's actually a bigger crowd at Division III football game. It's going to take a while to get people to come out and watch, especially because football is over and it was an exciting Super Bowl. And I think sometimes you just need a little time away from football. I know what that sounds like, but sometimes you do. Let it breathe a little bit, then get back into it in the spring.
I'm trying to look up attendance early in the XFL season. They shockingly on their stat sheets don't have attendance listed. I saw somewhere over the weekend that there were a couple of games that threatened like 17,000, which is honestly about what I expected, right? It takes time to ingrain a team into a community, no matter what level it is. Unless you're an NFL team or an NBA team, it takes a little while to, and even still, like even with NFL teams, with expansion teams, right? The Jags still have problem. Well, maybe they will not now, but the Jags, unless the team's really good, have had problems getting instilled in that community. Granted, Jacksonville is America's worst city, so
By the way, the World League of American Football played from 1991 to 1992, so it lasted 2 years.
I was 5.
Right. But I'm saying it hasn't really changed that much. Other football that's supposed to be not an alternative, but an add-on to what you just saw more professional football just does not catch on. And is it a matter of tradition? Is it a matter of, yeah, we just saw the best players in the world play a couple of weeks ago. These guys can't even make an NFL roster. Why should I watch them? Is that what it is?
I don't know. So here is the thing. We have had a lot of we live in a society talk so far today. Let's add one more to the table.
We do, as far as I know.
It depends on the day, you ask me. When it comes to our sports, fans really only pay attention when the athletes in question are the best. And here's what I mean by the best. Either they are in the best in the league they're in, or they're the best overall, right? You can ask, I've worked for a lot of low-level professional teams. The Blue Wahoos, the Ice Flyers, the Icemen, the Swamp Rabbits, the Triumph. I've worked with a lot of professional teams at all levels. And I think this goes all the way up to Pro Bowl. If your team is in contention for championships, regardless of the league they play in, your fans will show up, right? If your team's good. If I can feel pretty confident that you're going to win any given game I come to, it makes it more likely I'm going to show up. So the teams that jump out early in the XFL are probably going to see better numbers than the teams that don't. But when it comes to just random sports, I only want to watch the best, right? I want you to let's put it this way. Lonzo, outside of Michael Phelps, how much swimming and diving have you watched over the past, I don't know, your whole life?
A bunch. Katie Ledecky. I mean, there's some,
sure.
We've had some pretty big names.
All of whom are what? The best in the world.
The best in the world, for sure.
All of whom are the best in the world. How many college swim meets have you watched? I'd venture that the over-under is set at 1.5.
That would be 0
Yeah.
as far as I can recollect.
Yeah, it's set
I
the
may
over
have,
at 1.5.
may have
it's set the
lost
under.
something back in there somewhere, but I don't think I've ever seen a college swim
Right.
meet.
But when Michael Phelps hit the pool, all of a sudden America was swim crazy. When Katie Ledecky takes to the pool in the next Olympics, we will go swim crazy again. How much? I love curling. I've watched probably 22 curling matches so far this year. Lonzo, how much curling have you watched since the last Winter Olympics?
Probably more than you think, but not nearly enough to mention.
Right.
After we went and actually did some curling, I watched a little bit more, but I also am pulled many different directions. Right. That's not an excuse. It's a reason.
I accept it. But the point is, we watch when the best in the world are competing and not ever again, right? Every Olympic sport has its boost during the Olympics because the best whatevers in the world are doing that thing. But we're not tuning in for anything else, right? How many of y'all watch college hockey? Probably none of you. Or I shouldn't say none, a very small amount of you. And even the ones who love college hockey, how much college hockey do you watch before the Frozen Four tournament? Probably not that much. I'm in that group. I don't watch a ton of college hockey, but when the Frozen Four roll around, I'll absolutely watch the semis and the finals of the Frozen Four.
Well, it's the same thing like a couple of days ago when you ask what sport people are getting into, and someone mentioned college wrestling. I only watch it when
it's title time.
When it's title time, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we do. And the XFL is not the NFL. AJ McCarron started this week. That's not a crack at AJ McCarron, but if I want to watch football, I'm going to watch Patrick Mahomes.
And that the show leading up to it, they showed people getting drafted and all that kind of stuff, and they focused on AJ McCarron a little bit. And all I'm thinking is, what a step down this is. But these are guys that want to continue their career or start their career. Maybe they're late bloomers, and they even talked about that. People that need a little more development, a la like the G League and the NBA, that sort of thing. So will there be some stars come out of the XFL? We've seen it happen before. So
PJ freaking Walker.
yeah, so there will be, or he hate me back in the day.
Yep.
I mean, so there will be some guys that will get some shine. But they're not going to be seen by the majority of fans because they're not watching.
The best thing the XFL can do right now is do exactly what we talked about earlier. The XFL needs to tell stories. The XFL cannot focus on football. It needs to have good football. They need to make sure the games are well run and smooth and efficient and look good and all that. But the XFL needs to tell stories. It needs to tell the stories of the players that are in it. We need something to connect to because the football is not going to be great. When I say great, I'm talking NFL caliber. Football's not going to be NFL caliber. It can still be good and presented well, but I need somebody to latch onto. I need a story of a guy that makes me go, man, I got that guy's back. Now I'm a St. Louis Battlehawks fan.
And see, that's what they were trying to do with that hour special before the
Here's
very
thing.
first game.
I didn't know that was happening, or I'd have tuned in.
I didn't either.
I did not know that was happening.
I went to the handy dandy guide to go ahead and record the first game because I wanted to watch some of it, and I saw it was on, and it was right when it was on, and I was like, let me go ahead and check this out.
I planned my day. I didn't plan my day around those games. I planned my day around if I'm in front of the TV at 2:30, I'll turn it on ABC or whatever. We do have some numbers here. According to sportsnot.com, the DC Defenders versus the Seattle Dragons last Saturday in week 1 of the XFL averaged 3.3 million viewers on ABC. Now, that is more people than the NBA All-Star game.
I was going to say that's more than what I expected.
3.3, but it was on ABC. It was on a cable network.
And
It was on the free stuff.
That was the first game, right?
That was first game.
Okay, because there was a game later on that night.
There was the Houston Renegades versus the LA Wildcats. That game averaged 3.9 million average viewers. So a consistent Saturday. On Sunday, the day game on Fox, the New York Guardians versus the Tampa Bay Vipers averaged 3.39 million viewers. The only drop-off was the Sunday nighter between the Dallas Renegades versus the St. Louis Battlehawks, which only averaged 2.495 million viewers on ESPN. But that game was up against the All-Star game and going into all of that. So that kind of hampered that just a little bit. The Renegades versus Vipers, 1.5 million. Oh, sorry. I'm lying to you. Lonzo, those numbers I just gave you were week 1 from 2020. Here are I switched my prep sheet back and forth. Here are the numbers from week 1 of 2023. In 2020, the first 4 games averaged 3.3, 3.29, 3.39, and 2.495. Week 1 of 2023, this is dramatically worse. The opening game, the Renegades versus the Vegas Vipers, 1.54 million. The second game, the Roughnecks versus the Guardians, 1.14 million. That game was on ESPN and FX, the first game on ABC. The San Antonio Brahmas versus the Seattle Battlehawks on Sunday, 1.57. That was on ABC. DC Defenders versus the Seattle Sea Dragons on ESPN, Sunday afternoon, 918,000 average viewers. Did not even get north of a million.
I think if you're not a football fan and an Uber football fan, maybe you're flipping through the channel, seeing what was on, and you see football and you think, that must be a rerun, and you keep going because football doesn't happen at this time of year. And it's ingrained in us. Football is over. The Super Bowl just happened.
Because that's just the way it's always been, right? Now there's an option, but how do you sell that option? Here's your in-person attendance numbers. In 2020, the first 4 games averaged just over 17,000. DC versus Seattle, 17,163. Houston v. LA, 17,815. New York versus Tampa, 17,634. Dallas versus St. Louis, 17,206.
I wonder, would these teams do better in a smaller market?
I doubt it.
Because they're
LA's a million. LA's like 20 million people.
Right, but if you put it in a smaller market where it's the only thing going on at that time.
It is the only thing going on.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
Week 1 was the NBA All-Star break. There was nothing else happening, right? Sunday's afternoon game was up against the Daytona 500, which, yeah, that's a big event, but it's not like the Lakers are in town.
Greenville has a team. You going?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm not the right person to ask.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. It's kind of when you ask me a question.
Yeah.
Of course, I know that you're going, but would anybody else go? I would actually go to a football game like that. I think that would be kind of cool.
I think it'd be a blast too. And I think it's
Like I said, I went to World League. You didn't even know it existed, but that's fine. I think that's what turned into NFL Europe, by the way. But yeah, I went to that stuff because I got free tickets.
Perks of the job.
No, not at that time.
Oh.
At that time, I worked at a grocery store.
Perks of the job.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. That's how I got them. I think it was
so-
the Pepsi guy or the Coke guy or something.
17,000 plus per game in 2020. In 2023, Arlington v. Vegas, 12,047. Houston versus Orlando, 12,784. DC versus Seattle, 12,428. But there was one bright spot. San Antonio versus St. Louis, 24,245. So it had what? 40% more fans in attendance for that game than any of week 1 back in 2020.
Maybe they had free bacon.
I will go to anything with free bacon. So the success or failure of the XFL, we are still a ways off from finding out, right? One of the things that sells games is people going to games, right? I have had more people over the past 3 years tell me, Rob, I had never been to a Triumph game until I heard you talking about it on the radio, and now I'm going to all of them, right? I've heard that about a lot of teams throughout my career. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't think it was going to be that much fun until you said it, and then I tried it out, and it was great. The success or failure of the XFL is still in the distance. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Do I want it to be good? Hell yeah, I do. More football is always good. There's never a time where more football is bad. Grow the game. And that's true about every sport. But the numbers out of the gate are not super exciting. And you got to keep in mind, this is with a lot of these games being shown on ABC and ESPN, the big sticks. And B, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson involved. There's not a bigger influencer in America than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson right now. This is his baby. And even with Dwayne out front, the numbers aren't super encouraging out of the gate. So we'll see if that changes. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. When we come back here in just a minute, we have been getting texts from you guys all day. We will check back in on the texts we've gotten throughout the day and give you our thoughts. If you want your text read live on the air, send it right now to 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air and respond to them when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I haven't used it in a while, so I don't know if it's still in there, but we used to have a bumper called the cleanup spot.
Yeah, I think I moved it out of the hotkeys rotation.
Okay. If it's readily available. If not, no worries.
I mean, I can find it. So that's what happened to that. Oops.
John Schneider, obviously that didn't happen, and he was eventually traded to the Broncos. Wilson quickly denied the story.
I'm blaming sickness for that.
Never wanted them fired. All they wanted to do was win, and he will always have respect for them as well as love for Seattle. The NBA returned to the All-Star break with 9 games last night. Among the standout Sixers over the Grizzlies by 5. Slow start for Joel Embiid scoring-wise, but he still ended up with 27 points to go along with a loaded stat line for head coach Doc Rivers.
He took away his offense. What else did he do? Well, he had 6 blocks. He had 19 rebounds. He had 6 assists. And that tells you just how great the guy is.
And at a steal as well, made some huge plays down the stretch to help seal the victory for Philadelphia. College hoops, Ole Miss fired head coach Kermit Davis this morning. Took the Rebels to the NCAA tournament his first season, but was just 2-13 in SEC play this year. Another NHL trade last night. The league-leading Bruins acquired veteran defenseman Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway from the Capitals for Craig Smith, a first-round pick this summer, and future second- and third-round draft selections.
Here's Rob's rapid-fire response to all emails, texts, tweets, and comments. He's a cleanup spot on ESPN Sports Radio.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the upstate's most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. These spotty rain showers possible late today, otherwise cloudy skies, a high of 72.
So I guess we can't be using that.
Saturday, another chance for rain showers, cloudy at 55, and Sunday, mostly cloudy at 72. And meteorologist Jennifer Richards
to anybody with any knowledge of college football, they're last among the 5 Power 5 conferences. But again, when you consider that their land, their geography overlaps with the SEC and the Big Ten, the 2 best conferences in college football, the main question is why? And I'm afraid I don't have a definitive answer. I am failing you. Florida State used to be great, has been mediocre until very, very recently. Syracuse,
So we can't use it because we haven't used it in a while, and
It's got the old tag on it?
yeah, that's how long ago it's been. So
I'll get him to make me a new one.
I looked at it and I noticed it had an end date on it, and so I listened to it, and yeah, it still says.
So what gives? What is the reason the ACC has been flushed down the toilets? I'm Mark Ryan.
Both sides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan, Upstate, 97.7 FM, Greenville, 97.1
What?
FM,
Crud.
and on the Odyssey app. This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-932-8603 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-932-8603. That's 800-932-8603. What do you have to lose? Call 800-932-8603. Again, 800-932-8603.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell and Cordell.
Hey Matt, I've seen some pictures of you lately, dude. You're starting to get the salt and pep up in there too, so I don't know if I talk too much. Also, you're kind of inviting me to show up a la Undertaker wherever you're at. Just keep that in mind. And we both know you don't want that. So will we be doing this show long enough to where they tune it in and it's just white on both sides? Talking about beards and hair, not, Caucasian, because it's obviously that now, but I mean, Or will one of us wash that gray right out of their hair?
I won't. I don't care. I personally could not care.
Okay.
I have right here growing in a patch of all white in the beard. And over here on the side of my head, it is starting to gray out quick.
Well, there's
like noticeable.
There's some more.
Oh, I know.
That's still on the wave side.
I'm talking about in patches.
I got you.
Like I'm starting to get patches of gray.
Troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and help you save time and money down the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
I have considered just dyeing everything red, just to see if anyone notices.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on a Friday. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob. He is the great one. Let's take a look at some of the texts you guys have been sending in throughout the show to 71307. Start your text with FAN. FAN, we'll read them on the air. Cocky for a reason text in. He said, I didn't watch the XFL last week, but I am looking forward to it this weekend after seeing the highlights. And listen, that's what they got to do, right? The XFL needs to approach this. Step number one, you need to have good football. You need to present good football, right? You're going to have some bad football, but you need to present it as good football. You need the best. There cannot be mistakes on television, right? The NFL blows something in a broadcast. It's not going to change their numbers. The XFL puts out a bad broadcast. You get a couple of, 1,000 people who are tuning in for the first time and are not only potential future consumers of the XFL, But the old they tell two who tell two situation, if they have a bad broadcast, those people aren't going to go out and tell other people, hey, I watched the XFL on Sunday and it was a really good show, right? They got to fix that. The second thing they got to do is tell those stories. And they've got to market those stories, right? Like I said, I would have absolutely sat down and watched a 1 hour lead up to the XFL that would have told me where some of these guys were coming from, how they're playing for their hopes and dreams, how they're playing for their family, yada, yada, yada. I had no idea it was on.
And see, that's the thing. I watched it because I figured we were talking about it because we talked about leading up to it. So I watched it and then you never mentioned it and I forgot all about it. So it didn't impact me enough to go, hey, why aren't we talking about this? And we are, but it's Friday. So the entire week went by and we didn't mention it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Let's see. I get the Rock's reasoning for wearing number 54, but it just ironically reminds me of Cena. Just wear your old number 94 Miami number. That's all I got from XFL week 1. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's kind of the part of having the Rock there. It's just the people who are going to tune in to see what Dwayne's doing, being entertaining, if he can. Texas said, Rob, like many boxing fans, I'm amped up to see wildly popular knockout artist Jake Paul take on undefeated professional boxer Tommy Fury. The WBC says Paul is ranked if he wins. Curious what the show hosts thought about this year's biggest boxing match. Listen, if he wins this match, he will have fought and beat a professional boxer. If he wins this match, I may go back and watch the match.
No, you won't.
I honestly,
Okay.
I might.
Will you?
If
Okay.
it ranks, Jake, what is it? Which one is it? Jake Paul?
Yeah, remember Logan's the guy.
Logan's the wrestler.
Logan's the one that's good at wrestling. We keep that in mind.
If it ranks Jake Paul becomes a potential prize fighter down the line. In which case, I will watch him out of professional obligation, if nothing else. But beat Tommy, then hit me up. Texas said, Rob, I enjoy the XFL. It's good football giving some of these guys a second chance. I really like the extra point format after the touchdown. Plus, it's entertaining, ... And it's football. Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, more football is good. There's never a point where more football is bad for me. I will go watch half-assed fourth-level football if that's what's on this weekend. Football's always good. Andrew texted and said, I'm crying laughing. Best bacon segment in radio history. Thank you, Andrew. I wouldn't even argue that was our best bacon segment. It was Reese Davis's, though.
It wasn't, but I'm playing hurt. So I take all the blame for it not being, the pinnacle like we're used to.
Yeah, my back hurts from carrying this show right now.
It should. Because it's a sturdy amount of weight.
Hey, Rob, how's this for play-by-play? He bounced it. He bounced it again. He bounced it again. He bounced it again. Now that's painting a picture.
It might be fairly accurate, depending on, what it is, I suppose.
I'm not gonna get into another full-on discussion about play-by-play. I will just say this. Zoe, when you've heard a good play-by-play guy. And when you've heard a bad one.
I was going to say, and I definitely know when I've heard a bad one,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, there's a lot of play-by-play guys that are right in the middle. They're not great. They're not bad. They're just there.
And then there are bad pairings. You got a really good color guy and a really bad play-by-play guy, and the color guy can sometimes pull it out, but other times it's just like the contrast is so bad that you wonder, okay, is that guy related to someone? How's he working?
And then you've got situations where you've got different situations as far as the objective of the play-by-play guy, right? Like when Anish is calling Panther football, he is calling it for Panthers fans. So you are not going to get great action when the other offense does something incredible.
Which is why you sometimes don't want to watch or listen to the national host, because obviously they're against your team.
Always.
Everyone knows they can hear it. So why not listen to your hometown team broadcast team?
And that's it. Listen, like when I call Burns football, I am calling it for Burns fans. I'm excited about Burns touchdowns. I am let down by opposing high school X touchdowns. That's just how it goes. But you can still have the moment be a great moment, right? Texas says, Mike says, LOL crispy bacon. Thank you, Mike.
Wait. Wait. Don't tell me you finally found another one. Because when you did your poll, it was overwhelmingly crispy bacon.
Overwhelmingly.
It was overwhelming. You can roll your eyes all you want.
40.
It was more than that.
I may have to run it again. It seems about, I'll tell you what, when it pops up on my 1 year memories page, I'll run the poll again. But I think it was like 60-40. It was still a surprisingly thorough defeat, but I don't think it was like 90-10. It wasn't that dramatic.
I'm going to say it was about 78% crispy.
No, it was not that dramatic. Mike said, let's see. Oh, Mike was making fun of me. Never mind. He is not Team Floppy. He is Team Crispy.
Thank you.
He said, quote, hashtag crispy bacon for life. If it ain't crispy, it ain't bacon. End hashtag. That whole hashtag. He said, floppy bacon for the loss.
All right, here's the thing. If they were giving away free bacon, but they told me the bacon had to be floppy and not crispy, I might reconsider.
You're a liar.
I might. I said I might.
Filthy
I said I might reconsider.
If somebody offers me bacon and it's crispy, I'm still eating the bacon.
Are you?
Yes.
Because you're very adamant about
Still eating
how floppy bacon is better.
Listen, like vanilla is not a good flavor for ice cream, right? It's just bland. But if I've had dinner and the waiter comes out and he's like, we have vanilla ice cream for dessert. And I go, what else you got? And he goes, nothing, that's it. I'll still take it. It's still fine.
But you know what vanilla tastes like? It tastes like vanilla.
Disappointment is what it tastes like.
No, that's grits.
No. Texas said, Rob, if you can move to get younger CJ, if you can't move to get younger CJ, then I'd rather roll with Darnold or Corral than Levis or Richardson. We already have a developmental project with Matt Corral. We don't need another one. End quote. Yeah, I understand that point. If I can get Levis or here's the thing. If you ask me to power rank which quarterbacks I think have the greatest potential for long-term success, and I ask you to power rank, here, I'll let Lonzo do it live, see if we line up. Levis, Richardson, Corral, power rank them in career potential. 1, 2, and 3. What's the order?
It's really hard for me because all I hear is CJ.
Right, but I didn't include him.
I think they're in the order they should be in. This is hard for me because I don't think the Panthers should take any of those three.
I didn't ask you.
I know.
I said power rank those 3 potential.
I don't know enough about any of the 3 to give a well-rounded critique.
I do. Number 1, Richardson. Number 2, Levis. Number 3, Corral.
Because
listen,
I follow winners, man. That's just what I do. I can't, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you know about them.
It's my job. I understand.
Yeah, I just push buttons. So,
You executively push buttons.
I do. No one else in the building can say that.
I know that you have a project quarterback in Matt Corral. But if I look at a house that has the foundation laid and nothing else, and then I look at a house that has the foundations, the walls, the roof, and the windows put up, and you ask me which one of those 2 I'd rather work on, I'm going to go with the one that just needs some shutters. And that's Richardson, and that's Levis. I got zero idea where Corral stands right now. I would rather trade Matt Corral for a 7th-round pick and have Richardson or Levis unless I've got to make a big jump up to get him. If I got to make a big jump up to get him, I become immediately and entirely less interested than I was before. Richardson and Levis are both project guys, but they are project guys that already have displayed the physical tools to do it. Has Matt Corral done that? Corral has displayed that he can read an offense well. He did that under Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He can read an offense well, and I'm good with that. The problem I bumped into with Matt Corral is I don't know if he's got enough of the physical tools that I can take him to another level. I don't know if he's got the physical tools that go, this guy can do it. Anthony Richardson can do it. I've seen the physical tools. Will Levis can do it. I've seen the physical tools in the prototype body. With those two guys, with Richardson, it's can I up his accuracy, right? If I pair him with a great quarterback coach who can spend time working on the mechanics at an NFL caliber level, and he takes to that, and he gets that shine put on, Anthony Richardson can be a slightly less talented Lamar Jackson. That's how much of the physical prowess he has. With Will Levis, if Will Levis can keep his composure in the pocket, Will Levis has every tool Aaron Rodgers has in his bag. And maybe more physical, right? So if I can take Will Levis and I can put him through a 4-day darkness retreat, or if I can take him and put him with a yoga meditation instructor, a yogi, and I can get him right between the ears to where the screws don't get too tight when he's got a defensive end bearing down on him and he keeps his composure in the pocket and delivers a good football, Will Levis can do it. I just don't know that I feel that way yet about Matt Corral. And if I don't feel that way yet about Matt Corral, I'd rather move on for the project. Texture says, Rob, why all the love for Richardson? He wasn't that good, if I recall correctly. Anthony Richardson, pardon my phrase here, played South Carolina, and they got their rear ends toe up from the flow up. That's the same team that beat Clemson, right? Anthony Richardson put the tools on display, but he fell apart in some spots. Anthony Richardson's only problem was accuracy. Anthony Richardson was the 110th ranked out of 124 college quarterbacks when it came to accuracy.
Yeah, you make me cringe every time you say that. Yeah, he's a good quarterback, but he throws to the other team quite a bit.
I can work on accuracy.
Can you?
Yes.
I think there are some people you can't fix.
He might not. You may not be able to fix him. That's why he's a project and not a guarantee. But I would rather work on accuracy.
Yeah, projects are not drafted at number 9.
Here's the thing. Matt Corral has accuracy. What Matt Corral lacks is the physical tools. He's not a physical quarterback. He's not built like a quarterback. I got to bulk him up. Now, maybe I can do that. Maybe I don't know what faith the Panther offense or the Panther coaching staff has in Matt Corral yet. And, oh, by the way, not a Frank Reich pick. Might still be his guy, but I don't know. Anthony Richardson, I just got to get accuracy up. The legs are there. The arm is there. The physicality is there. The head is there. The vision is all there. It's just the accuracy. That might be a mechanic problem, right? My problem with Tim Tebow was never anything more than his mechanics. His mechanics were garbage when he got to the league. Because at Florida, he had all day and a half to throw and elite caliber wide receivers to go get the ball. So when Tebow could throw, he'd drop in the pocket. He would drop the ball all the way down to the hip and then rotate it all the way up and around to throw the football. That'll get you killed in the NFL. The difference between dropping the ball to the hip and coming up versus having the ball up at the shoulder and being able to fire the same dart, and he never corrected it. He never fixed those mechanics, which is why he flamed out of the NFL. Anthony Richardson's got a lot of the mechanics down. I just got to get the accuracy right. That might be what I can do. But again, that's why it's a project and not a guarantee. Texter says, Matt Corral. No, he's not there yet. He's not there yet. He might be. Let's hope so.
He's won as many championships as Josh Allen has.
Josh Allen. Texter says, Anthony Richardson, the guy who played for Florida, right? Same guy. Yeah, exactly. A guy that had games like he did against South Carolina where he smoked some fools, and then he had other games where he just fell apart.
That's why I didn't know who he was. He played for Florida.
Texter says, mine and my wife's Waffle House order, bacon on 2, make 1 well and 1 extra well. Oh, she goes extra crispy? I do not want to be able to physically harm somebody with bacon.
Did he indicate who gets the extra?
It doesn't matter. 1 well and 1 extra
well.
well.
You just automatically put that on her. Maybe it was him getting the extra.
Well, he did say mine and my wife's order, make 1 well and make 1 extra
Okay,
well.
so I all right, I see the logic.
I'm going context. I
see the logic.
I might be wrong. But that being said, I don't want to bite my bacon and have it turn into a weapon inside of my grill.
No one's talking about burnt bacon. Talking about crispy bacon. There's a difference between crispy bacon and burnt bacon. No, burnt bacon is black. It turns to dust. That's burnt bacon.
Texter said, Rob, floppy bacon is for the complimentary hotel breakfast buffet. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, you get that disgruntled cook in the back. He's trying to dish out as much food as he can. It's like, it looks done to me, and then just puts it out there.
I stay in hotels 5 to 10 times a year. A couple times on vacation. ACC media days we've done the last couple of years. We are currently working on hopefully covering SEC media days this year as well. It's over in Nash Vegas. Hopefully we'll be over there. There is not much more that Rob Brown finds joy in than coming down from the hotel room, walking to the complimentary continental buffet, walking straight to that big tub of bacon and finding out that the bacon is floppy, because then Rob's plate is like 1 scoop of scrambled eggs, 1 scoop of home-style potatoes, and then just all the bacon that plate can structurally handle. And I'm happy as a fat kid at a bacon buffet.
Will you complain to whoever is cooking at the hotel if the bacon is not crispy to
Nope.
your or floppy to your
Nope.
liking?
It takes a lot for Rob to complain about food at a restaurant because I know how tough that job is. So unless you just completely screw the pooch, I don't complain. If it's crispy, it just means I'm taking 1 little pincer full instead of loading my plate. Let's see. Texter says, where'd that one go? There it is. Accuracy is the number 1 thing a quarterback needs for the NFL or any level. You should already have accuracy in college, not be learning it in the pros. Yeah, in an ideal world, man. In an ideal world. But if you give me a quarterback who's 95% of the way there, and the last exclamation point is be more accurate, I will trust a quarterback coach to be able to fix that problem. And look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that is also why I've said, if you are going with Levis or Richardson, what did I say about him? He is not my week 1 starter. If I'm going with either of those cats, I'm getting a vet. Carr, Garoppolo, Rodgers, Jackson, hell, Sam Darnold. I will take a vet starter for that guy to mentor under while we work on his mechanics for a full season. He is not my week 1 starter, no matter how bad we do. Texter said, I want that bacon to be breakable upon touch. Why? No. Texter said, Matt Corral is a good project. You don't draft projects at number 9. Corral is physically as big as Favre, Breeze, Russell Wilson, and others. Yeah, but do you think he has the mobility of any of those guys? Keep in mind, Matt Corral got his wheel flattened in his last bowl game. Do you think all those guys you just mentioned, Favre, Breeze, Wilson, all very escapable guys, underappreciated for it? You putting Matt Corral in that group, really? Really? And finally, Texas said, I wish people would pay us millions of dollars just to see if we worked out. Yeah, me too. Tell you what, the day that you sell out stadiums at 100,000 a piece to see people, for people to come see you work, you'll be able to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we take our final break. We come back. We hit Twitter trending topics. We call it a week on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Roger, I'm just a happy fat guy could be the title of my autobiography.
What food item are you holding?
Floppy bacon. Or donut. Floppy bacon wrapped around a donut, which is delicious, by the way.
Paladins basketball plays all season long right here on the Fan Upstate. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. With the Sports Flash, I'm Chuck Sanders. I'm Fan Upstate.
I'm Ruby Condon with NFL Network Now and Westwood One Radio Network. There will be no Hollywood ending for Bobby Wagner in LA. The Rams and the former All-Pro linebacker have agreed to part ways after just one season. Wagner's release won't become official until March 15th, so he can't sign with the new team until then. He left the Rams in chapters in 2022.
Listen up, kids. So if you're slightly ill and you're having to use cough drops, don't walk into the bathroom every time after you put a cough drop in, because you're breathing a little bit better. And I've had the horrible luck
You don't
today.
wanna breathe better in that room.
I've had the horrible luck today of going in right as someone has finished and left the room. And breathtaking would be a word or two words, depending on, I don't know. Just don't do it.
This is Joe Cordell at the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Greenville area attorneys. 55 Beatty Place, Suite 900, Greenville, South Carolina, 29601. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Here at Total Wine and More, you'll find what you love. Love what you find. I'm looking for a whiskey that will blow my buddies away. You see the girl bourbon?
All right. You're going down Kevin's lane there, Roger. You don't want to do that. Kevin ain't been on today. Do not be replacement Kevin.
P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized
So there was a Pearl Jam song on when I went in there that's in my head, and I don't know the words to it. He's just whining the whole time, and all I hear is just the whine in my head. But I don't know the words. It's driving me crazy. I don't know the name of the song either, so I can't look it up to get rid of it. I'd have to go through their entire library, and that would take a while. It's a song where they, at the end, are going, do-do-do-do-do-do. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
I do not.
Well, you're not really a Pearl Jam fan then, are you?
I'm not anti-Pearl Jam. I just never loved Pearl Jam.
No, it's not that one, James. I know that one.
Excellent work. Excellent work. We really should have some weaponized poopery to carry into that bathroom.
I don't think that stuff works.
Oh, it works.
I disagree.
I've got it on every pooper in the house.
It just has its own smell, and you know what you used it for. And it's just it's not. I don't know. Does poopery come in different? I can't breathe when someone sprays a bunch of that stuff. So I mean. It's time to do Twitter trending topics. I'm trying not to project because that's when the coughing comes. So I will tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell us why it is trending. It sucks not being able to put energy into something where you can't tell I'm actually putting energy in, but it doesn't sound like it. All right, the first thing that's trending is Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks, one of the legends, and of course the front woman of Fleetwood Mac for many years, is on tour right now I actually looked up tickets. She's doing a gig in Charlotte in the next couple of months, and I looked up tickets. The lady friend is a huge Stevie Nicks fan. Huge Stevie Nicks fan. So I was going to surprise her with some tickets to go to that show. Jack, they are expensive. Expensive. So we're not going, unfortunately. Don't know why she's trending. I'm assuming it's a birthday.
All I could find was how she travels with a bunch of women, and they all usually are in the pool, but no men are allowed.
Yeah, well, the last time Stevie Nicks was on tour with dudes, she ended up with Fleetwood Mac. You know,
Okay.
Hey, I divorced one guy in the band to leave him for another guy in the band, and now he has to play music while I sing a song
They got some good-
about divorcing him for this guy.
Yeah, they got some good songs out of that, though.
Listen,
they really did.
They did, and I get him staying in that band because he was absolutely set for life because of it. But is there a more humiliating musical experience than standing on stage playing background music for your ex while she sings about how trash you were and how well endowed her new husband is? Oh, you know, the guy that's also on the stage with you. I could not think of a situation I want to be in less than that.
All right, the next thing is trending is
Here's our next song called My Ex's Tiny Willie. And you got to play guitar to that?
okay. I wasn't aware that there were lyrics like that in the song, so maybe you got to point out which song that was.
She's
so
a little more artistic in her metaphors than I am.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Like Robert Plant called it a whole lot of love. We know what he means. He just dressed it up nice.
Wait, what? The next thing that's trending is Jeff Hardy.
So Jeff Hardy is about to do.
That looked like that
Unloved.
hurt, man. You hit
It
that
did.
pretty hard.
I regret my life decisions most of the time. Jeff Hardy just sentenced to, I think, 38 days in prison for yet another DUI. And I got to tell you, I'm done with Jeff Hardy. If I never see Jeff Hardy again, I'm fine with it. I'm sorry to friend of the show, Matt Hardy, but if I never see Jeff Hardy again, I'm okay with that.
I do believe that that's been removed, but he is loses his license indefinitely, and they're like
Oh, he needs
impounding.
to lose it permanently.
They're impounding his cars and a bunch of stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
DUI
so.
like number 8 or something. You have to remove his license, but you're rich, dude. Get an Uber.
The final thing that's trending, and I'm just going to tell you, I don't know why, but it's not often that you can say that this is trending. Don't expect something spectacular. Just for Rob, Druid is trending.
Team Keyleth, bro. Team Kiki.
I don't think that's why it's trending, but I
sure
couldn't
that
figure
it's
out
not.
why. When you look up Druid, a lot of weird things
By the
pop
way, ladies and gentlemen, I am going with a tentative date of March 10th. 11th, March 11th for the next episode of Ray D and Dio. The greatest name ever created.
up. By the way, that name sucks. Check out the Upstate Pulse tomorrow as we start our video game bracket to crown the greatest video game of all time.
7 to 9 tomorrow on WORD. It is the best nerd pop culture show in all the land, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't even say radio. I can't
Ray
say
D
it.
and Dio.
No, I can't do it.
Get the t-shirts printed. That's it, kids. Have a great weekend. Follow me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. We'll stay connected all weekend long, and then we'll see you back here on Monday to do it all over again on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Oh, that was a really bad brother. That was my worst brother in a while. Brother.
I don't know. Do you have to practice your brothers?
I would just like to say, Trey, that Heinous Anus is a great band name. Great punk band
I
name.
bet you someone's already used
I
it.
have no doubt.
But I am not looking that up.
Lonzo, this is Chris. Can you tell me why Heinous Anus is in your Google
Oh, no,
search?
no. Chris would be laughing his butt off about that. I mean, you know.
Texture said men who eat floppy bacon typically take Viagra. Coincidence? I don't think so. Texture said only liberals eat floppy bacon. We from the South, yo. Hashtag crispy bacon and you can kiss my grits. Texture says bacon needs to be stiff with very little bend. Flaccid bacon just doesn't cut it. You guys are the worst. The worst. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys, on the other hand, except you crispy bacon eaters, are the best. We will see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.